Good morning. It is 10:30 a.m. It is Sunday morning, and that means it is time for Sunday Club, a weekly live stream where every week we take a look at some Ruby on Rails coding and building an application together. And at the moment, we are building an application that allows people to register for events, kind of like Eventbrite or a bunch of the other ones we've looked at, try booking and things like that. And we are going to be focusing on allowing people to register for group events. That's kind of like the long-term aim of the application, and maybe raise some money for some good causes along the way if we can squeeze that stuff in. All at previous streams in the YouTube channel if you want to take a look. Okay, so no follow-up today because there was a stream on Friday, and on Friday did some Sketch, more learning about Sketch for macOS, which is super useful, learning more stuff about their use of symbols, which is like the reusable components within Sketch. But one of the most important things that happened on Friday was started to pin down like what is the very barest, most minimum version of this application that we can ship. And I think that it is very minimum. We basically, let's jump over to take a look at Sketch from Friday on the screen. So we were working on the admin UI, and we had worked on this idea of having a menu down the left. We weren't too worried about what it looked like specifically. Like this is all just the font I had to hand, and it's just gray. Like it doesn't really matter what it looks like at this stage. We're just working out what was there. This is the menu we had already put together in our prototype in a previous stream. And there's a bunch of stuff here. There's all these complex things that we would have to handle if we wanted to code this up. And then we took a look at what Eventbrite are doing, which is what is the minimum number of fields that it would take to make something bookable so that we could actually have someone come through and register that they were going to attend this event. And we could kind of not worry about any other logic, but we could keep an eye on what we know the logic is, like how we've got a prototype of just how complex that logic can get all around, like at what level groups exist and things like that. Is it possible to put together a minimum version and iterate our way there, rather than trying to handle all that complexity up front? And I think that's probably more feasible for the stream, because on the stream, we only really have Sunday mornings, maybe like a bit of time here and there. So just trying to do all of the work that would normally happen, like all of the, like none of this is real. In case you're watching, like you would normally have like a full, you'd go and do all your product work and make sure that you were doing the right things for the right people and blah, blah, blah. But we're just trying to get something we can actually ship, and maybe I think it would be cool if we could use it on the, as an outcome of the stream. Like people could register for some, we'll come up with some stuff. I don't know what that is yet, but we'll come up with it. And the fields that kind of made the cut were like the name of the event, where it is, if it's a physical event, if it's virtual, that can be like a Zoom link or anything like that. Start date and time, end date and time, and that's about it. We then looked at whether what they had on Eventbrite was like an event description, static fields on the page that you're just rendering out for the event description page. So they had like a picture, description, and I think they have a little block editor that you can use. So maybe we could just put a description field and kind of get away with that for now, because there's no logic around that. It's either populated and you render it on the event page, or it's not and you don't, and then making the event live. So I haven't even put any like published or unpublished logic or anything like that. But this feels like the barest minimum. And then there is obviously the other side of this, which is registering your interest or buying a ticket or whatever you want to call it to this event. And what I was thinking is we could make that as simple as possible, and just have like name and email address or something like that. Maybe you have to verify that email address just so we don't put up a small app and get it spammed, but something like that to get us going. And that's kind of where I was looking to get to. So we've got this prototype open in the other window. Oh, no, we don't, because I didn't start the server. Okay, so we've got this prototype, and what we were prototyping here was the complexity that I wanted to kind of take a look at, which is having groups purchase tickets. So that's the it wasn't cart, was it? It was orders. Orders new. So we were looking at the complexity of designing the user interface, which is kind of like super interesting to discuss and look at competitors and things like that. And then we've got the complexity of having multiple ticket types against against an event, and then having that event basically have limits around how many ticket types you can purchase, how we're going to handle group bookings and things like that. And the problem is that there's just so much complexity around that. There's so much there that I don't know if it's feasible to really do on the streams, because I mean, I suppose we'd have to define all of those rules and go through and build it all out. Like, it would be 90% product work before we actually coded anything, which isn't really like what I want the streams to be, because they're kind of just not a lot of coding involved. And I think the Rails side of things is more interesting, especially the stuff that's coming up in Rails 7, this idea of not having to have a Webpacker, and maybe using minimal JavaScript and kind of getting a long way with Hotwire as the default. Super interested in that. It's September, and I don't think that is due to ship until later in the year, and so I think it might be a little bit early to try and build this in Rails 7, but certainly we don't need to do anything with JavaScript up front. We could just put Hotwire in, and it's that kind of build step that we could kind of ignore for now, and then try and upgrade to Rails 7 and take out. I think Webpack would be the default. We could kind of take that out, just have Hotwire in initially. And then try and iterate our way to the complexity, I guess. So we could ship a really basic version of what the sketch thing is, and get to the most basic version. We'd have to deal with all of the normal ignorable bits of complexity that you normally have, which is like, how are we going to send emails, and just like even something simple like grabbing start date and time and then having that render out is not straightforward. That's like an entire stream just on those two fields. Like I've done that before, and it's not in any way easy, because you then have, okay, well, we can skip the complexity of it for building the prototype, but we know we want to iterate towards it. So we're like, okay, well, what happens for events with multiple sessions? What happens for recurring events? How are we going to handle those? How would they get modeled, versus purchasing a ticket? Okay, so I think that's all fine. And in the name of this video, I put making some decisions. And what I meant by making some decisions is there's some stuff that we've deferred a few times, which is like, do we want to use Tailwind? How does this look? Like, what does this look like? Like, I mean, on Friday, it was like, what typeface and stuff like that. I was just use the one I had to hand. And so I think those are some calls we want to make, because we've kind of brushed over a lot of these in these early stages of building the ticketing app. And I think we might want to start making some calls on them. I think I'm probably leaning towards a no on the Tailwind side of things. But yes to using View component instead without Tailwind. But then I did see that Tailwind is coming in as like one of the defaults available options of Rails 7, which seems like strange to me, because it's just I don't know, maybe I'm way off on that. Maybe I'll come back to get stung by that. But we could, what I did like from Tailwind is having this idea of like preset sizes, but I was thinking more of them as perhaps as CSS variables, or like a set of SAS variables or something like that up front, so that you could still use the naming convention but in your CSS, rather than having to, although I suppose if you're learning the naming convention anyway, why not just use theirs? Yeah, okay. I think I'm still erring on the side of not using them. And Although I suppose the potentially smaller CSS file is what's attractive. I don't know if we're going to get to the kind of size where that's going to be that painful, though. Okay, let's not dwell on that. Let's say the decision is to go without it for now, and know that we could add it in later. Which is possibly, I'm really going to regret saying that if I think it is. But I didn't really get on with it too well, and didn't really get crazy stung. And if we're building everything with components, presumably we could introduce it component by component anyway. And with the fact that it would use the CSS purge, it would only get bigger. The output from Tailwind would only get bigger as we added it to more components. So that feels introducible. Yeah, I think everything else we can kind of just iterate our way towards, but have some code. Maybe this is all really naive. I might come back and watch this another time and think that was stupid. No, it doesn't really matter. We can tear the whole thing down. The other aspect is that I do kind of want to see if we can get some like donation functionality in there for good causes, because I've come up with the name. So we haven't got a logo or any branding or anything, but I would like to have that kind of aspect of good cause, like fundraising stuff, just because it's something that I've worked on in the past, and people have always been really appreciative if the software then can make it easy to donate money to good causes. So we can take a look at how we can do that, either with the third-party API, or hopefully we can use some of the Stripe stuff that I already have lying around. Cool. Another decision that we want to make is, do we want to use, we had looked previously at Jumpstart Rails. I think, again, my answer is probably going to be no here. Just because we got pretty far without it last time. Multi-tenancy and accounts. I think a lot of these are gem based. And we looked at like the notification gem, I think we introduced. Yeah, so I think we can, a lot of the functionality is being provided through gems that are available. So let's take a look at their examples, because I'm not averse to using one of these. Have they changed the pricing? Because this one was the cheapest one. Or maybe we could use it for, maybe we could try the iOS app separately. I'm really interested in that. Genuinely, I think maybe that's the one I would get. We could build the app first, like the web app first, but then use Jumpstart to get an iOS app started for $200. That's like 170 quid, I think. 129 USD in GB. Oh wow, way less than that. Oh, it's like 140 quid. Okay, yeah, that seems really fun to play with. Oh, actually, I'd love to do that. Let's build up this prototype thing and then cough up for the iOS version of this and see if we could get something reading from an API from our web app into the Rails app. That could be really cool, because I've never really got anything going with iOS at all. Like, I've always been interested in it, but never really got anything going with it. I'm guessing that's iOS only. I don't know if that... Can you then use this for Android? I'm assuming not if it doesn't mention it. Okay. Yeah, let's go build a thing. Let's go and start. So we've done this before pretty recently, and I remember it being a good experience. So let's So we're going to call it good ticks is the name of the application, because my name, here's my logic thinking on the name, is that you can make the tick symbol part of like the user experience where both it's for good causes, but also you get ticks as you like move along the checkout process or set up a new event and things like that. And it's good. I think I wish want vanilla Rails. I don't think I need, I want to use Postgres. Is it like a -- PG or something? Okay, let's just go to the Rails docs. We have done Rails new on this stream a long time ago. Oh, here we go. Rails new options explained. We've got -- database calls. Other options we got. When is this gist from? Last active, oh no. 2015. Okay, this is from a while ago. Let's actually go and look at the docs. Installing Node.js versus Yarn. All that stuff already. I think. Actually, before we run this, let's just copy that for a second. .1.4. What's the latest Rails version? 6.1.4. Okay, cool. So Rails new will do the latest one. Got database. I'm happy with that. Wait, where were the other options? It doesn't. Okay, doesn't she? Oh, you can see Rails new -- help. Okay, I should have thought of that. Okay, what we got? I'm just trying to make this a bit easier to read. Okay, so skip namespace, skip collision check. Freebie, that could all be defaults. We've got database. We're going to don't create a gem file. We want all that stuff. Okay, do we want action mailer? Wait, action mailer, yes. Action mailbox, I think, is because action mailbox is the one with stuff in, right? Oops. Rails action mailbox. That's incoming emails. Like, we don't need that particularly. I think. Just trying to limit stuff that we don't need existing because we'll have to support it. Let's go. God damn it. So you can skip action mailbox. We do want action text. Yep. Do want active storage. Yep. Want everything else. Let's leave Spring in for now. turbo link. So is that now turbo in 614? What does that actually provide at the moment? Rails. Let's get turbo links. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking through what other people are saying about this. Okay, nothing to do with that. So I'm just looking at what you now get when you're installing turbo links with the default Rails installation. Because I don't think I want it. I think I want to put turbo in later, but I don't think that comes with default with 6. But therefore, I think I can leave this out. I'm going to optimistically say we can skip this as well. JBuilder is the JavaScript. I don't think I've ever used JBuilder because I've always swapped that out as well. I think that's the one where you build like the JSON responses. Yeah, and I've used the other one. I can't remember what it's called. There's like another. So I end up using the one that automatically builds JSON API standard ones previously, and there's another one called like Rails JSON Gems. Yeah, I built this. Here we go. Oh, Rabble might have been the one that I end up using. Potentially that one. Okay, let's skip it for now because not sure that we need it. Can you switch the default to RSpec from here rather than mini test? Lots of files, skip loading, extra configuration, options, Rails C, pre-configure smaller stack for API only. If you're in a minimal Rails app, ooh, wonder what minimal does. Skip Webpack. We're going to keep Webpack for now and then try and get it out in 7. That's what we said earlier. Okay, let's give that a try. What happens now? I should have checked my Ruby version before I did that. That was annoying. Oh, also, do I have to... Does that do a git init as well in the folder? It makes... Yeah, it must do. Optimistic there. Then this is all the Webpack stuff. Loads of fun loading stuff happening. Lots and lots of JavaScript, a phenomenal volume of JavaScript code. All those amazing packages that I have no idea what they're doing. Amazing. So we should have a repo that does have a Git in it, a Git repo in it. Okay, and that is on 3.0.0. What's the latest version stable? .3.0.2. Security stuff in there? Where's like the release notes? I'll take. I'm not sure where they are, but I'll take a look at that later. But okay, I think 3. Let's see if they got just CV. Is it just CVEs? Ruby releases. There we go. Okay, they actually sound pretty important. Well, we'll just carry on with 3 for now, just because on the stream you don't want to watch me watch a Ruby version install, because this is just going to be for local anyway for now. Cool, we got a basic Rails app. So let's... God, I don't have any aliases on this machine. Okay, fine. I don't know what GhostScript is, but I need to get the hell out of it. There we go. Okay, great. This is why I don't use aliases, because I can never remember which stupid laptop they're on. I thought that was going to be really helpful then. Let's chuck this in. Right, so git commit. Yes, I trust me, because it's me. Oh no, I'm in the wrong thing. Oh, that doesn't matter. Default Rails installation. Rails version is 6.1 point something. I've already forgotten. 6.1.4. .1.4.1. Oh, exciting. We've got an initial commit. There is a real repo somewhere. That's very exciting. One thing I did see recently, just off topic of anything at all, is I saw someone on Twitter talking about the GitHub application, and we talked about that ages ago on this stream when we were doing Rails New for the first time, because I use SourceTree, but you can't zoom in on it. So it didn't work very well for the stream. In the same way, the Sketch has the same problem. The UI components, you couldn't zoom in, so it was hard to read on the stream for zooming in. But the GitHub application did do that, so we ended up using it a little bit. But they have this really cool image diff tool where if you're looking at an image, I don't know if it's just when you're waiting to stage it or anything like that, and you could compare the differences, but it seemed to have like a little drag bar where you could see, like you could drag it left to right, and you could overlay the new changes on top of each other. It looked really cool. I'm gonna check that out. That's not related to anything that we're doing here, but I did want to check that out. But I might put the GitHub app back on this laptop, because I don't think I rebuilt my laptop recently and haven't put it back on because I only had it for the stream. Because the ones that we have, let's get this open actually. So let's do this and Open up the new. We can just do this here. Like the yes, I trust the authors. Like the Git stuff in VS Code is not very visually friendly. It's very functional. But maybe the GitHub app is a good idea to get back on this machine. Can do that later on. Okay, cool. So what do we want to do first? Right. Might be worth looking back at this channel and work out what we installed first. So we can hopefully now run a server. No, we have to just like set up a database and stuff. Will it show us our little holding page? Like, welcome to Rails? No. Okay, cool. We got to do... and I think we will probably have to define a database user. Does it do that? No, does it put for us? Great. Okay, and so... There's nothing in our database, so I think we could just do this. Amazing. So let's think about what we were getting from Jumpstart in terms of we're going to need a bunch of stuff, but we can just dive in. But Jumpstart was giving us a bunch of gems that we might want to consider installing, or we can do them as we go. Jumpstart Rails. Payments we can skip. Multi-tenancy and accounts. Well, we've looked at that on the stream before, and we have touched on it here, like a user in these, because we built that into the previous application. So we had organizations, teams, whatever. I can't remember what we did. But that's something we definitely want to come back to. Again, this is where I'm torn between like, I basically just want to skip over all of that complexity and shoot ourselves in the foot by not considering it, and had to iterate to it later, which is painful. But I just want to get something shippable on the stream. So I know we're making a lot of trade-offs. Authentication, so we're probably gonna want to come to something like Devise and Pundit and things like that, which we've done on the stream before. Hotwire we're going to want as well, which we've done on the stream. Invoicing we can skip. Announcements we can skip. User impersonation we can skip. Tailwind we're going to skip, but we are going to use view component. So maybe we back our way into this, but I'm going to leave it for now. I wonder what API included means. So staging environment, I think we just stick with Heroku review apps for now. That works pretty well. Notifications and mentions. So that's the gem that I think they use, the notify gem, which we used on the stream previously. Easy upgrades. I mean, we're gonna have to upgrade the app no matter what. Customizable, internationalization, and social login. So we'd use Devise and no more for that. Okay. So nothing immediate there that we're gonna want to do. So let's build out, and let's essentially build out our admin area first, I guess. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to try and I don't know. Yeah, maybe this is a better way to do things. Like just genuinely, like not a better way to do things, but like a viable way to do things of just like doing no product work at all, and just completely individual line of code at a time, back ourselves into some functionality that may or may not work later. Okay. Let's where are we going to start? Oh man, this is the problem of having no planning whatsoever. It's such a stupid way to approach things. Okay. What did we do on our last application? I think we did loads of admin stuff and then put users in, which was stupid. That was that wasn't particularly helpful, because we didn't quite have the right idea in terms of like. Okay, let's start with users and allow them to be admins and access the admin area. Should we start there so then we can create the event and build what we built in Sketch, like this super basic version of creating an event? Should we start there? That just feels like as good a place as any. Like, just that's absolutely arbitrary, just because we don't have any real plan. Which is it's a very strange feeling. Actually, quite a bit lost. All right, let's go. I think we'll do what we did on the previous one and just use devise. I think we're just going to make some users, build some login stuff. Does devise give you a user model, or do you need to generate one? We're just going to do things the barest way to start with, so we could just have like it's composed of 10 different things. Starting with Rails. Okay, so it will build one for you if one doesn't exist. Okay, we're going to do the minimum stuff. Let's just do the minimum stuff. Let's install devise. Because we're kind of just doing what Jumpstart would give us anyway. So we're going to need to put some gems in there. We can tidy all that stuff up later. So run bundle install. Next, you need to run the generator. So Rails generate devise install. What did that make? Actually, let's put the GitHub app. Let's go and get a copy of the GitHub app, actually. Because I do want to show on the screen what these gems have generated. So it's just downloading in the background. I'm just we can see it in VS Code here as well. So we've just got the gem file. The gem file.lock. So let's make ourselves a branch. We're going to run our generator thingy install script. Okay, they've changed the GitHub app logo. It's purple now. Well, it used to be black. It's the first change I've noticed. I'm just in some other screen for some reason. It's loading up there. Oh, now it's on this one. Sign into github.com. Yeah. Sorry, it's just Use my GitHub name, account and email address. Yep, finish. Okay, so this is it. And drag and drop a hard drive. So I want to do, got a copy of it here. Cool. So this is all this. So this one, now we can zoom in. Great. So hopefully chuck a picture in here and see that before and after thing. We'll do that later or another day or something. Right, okay, so that's just GitHub. So let's actually go to code and see what has been installed. So we have, again, we did this not too long ago on the stream. So we've got this device thing. Do we want to use a different key from secret key base? I wonder what the pro of that is. I have had to change secret key base on an app and did have to log everyone out because of that default. So maybe it would be good to have like an additional secret that was device only. Mail sender. We can just install this with all the defaults for now. And worry about it later. And what was the other one? The default locale file. Okay, great. So let's just... Oh, so these both staged. Is that what staged means on this app? Default device. Okay. I actually want to set a repo up for this, so I might have might do that later. I think I'm not gonna create an I'm not gonna do this one open source because that one didn't pan out very well last time on the stream at all. Okay, I'm just making a repo for this, so bear with me. Okay, hang on. It's asking me a bunch of questions on the other screen. That's why I'm just staring blankly into space. I feel like I'm doing product research for GitHub. Okay, great. Okay, so now create a repo. Cool. Okay, actually, I immediately want to change something, which is really annoying. So bear with me. I'm on the other screen. It's super annoying. Just bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, I actually don't know if I can change the thing that I've just... okay, so then we can do git remote add origin. Cool. Oh, there was a bunch of stuff here that I just missed. This is what used to happen all the time on the previous stream. It would be like, hey, here's some good ideas that you should do. I would immediately not do them. Ensure you define default URL options in your environments files. Okay, yeah, we don't have any of that stuff for now. I'm sure you have URL to define something. Well, we haven't done that yet. Sure you have Flash. Well, we haven't done that yet either. You can copy device views customization to your app by running Rails device views. Did we end up using those? I guess we want the minimum one. Let's come back to that. Maybe we could use that. Oops. What did master have on it? Just that, okay. Oh, that's weird. Why is it not accepting? Me. I do have an SSH key on this. And I should be... Oh, maybe I have to actually add... Do I have to add myself to a repo for an organization that I'm an admin on? Learning new GitHub stuff. Who has access? Invite teams or people. Myself. Ah, okay, right, let's try that now. What? Oh, because I added it as HTTPS. Oh, I copied and pasted it. That's really annoying. I've done that before. Okay, I meant to add this. Okay. But I think I now have to do set origin. Yeah, I have to... Oh, God. Git update origin is... Git remote set rel origin push origin master. Great. Okay, cool. So now we should have a repo with something in it, which we now have. Ta-da! Pretty cool. We can come back and fix that later. So then we're going to go back to our previous branch. Oh, in the chat. Finian is saying the Git remote is using HTTP. Yeah, so yeah, Finian is really super annoying that it defaults to HTTPS. Good morning / good evening where you are. It must be super late. It's 11:21 here. I hope you are well. And I owe you an email actually, Finian, which I will send. I actually have started a draft to you. But you will see why it's taking me a long time when I send the email. So I'd expect that in about 3 to 4 weeks, months, or years. Right, okay, so that we have a repo. We have devise on one of the branches. We haven't got any devise views, but that feels fine because we don't actually know what we're doing yet. So we didn't get a model. So let's go back to our devise docs. And it was going to give us a model as a freebie. At this point, a number of instructions. You need to set the default URL. The generate will install initializer, which describes all of devices. It is imperative you take a look at it when you are done. I did take a look at it, but I don't have anything to do yet, so we can come back to that. In the following, you replace model with the username used for the application's users. It's frequently user, but code model if one does not exist, and configure it with default desires modules. Generate also configures your config routes file to point to the device controller. Right, let's just do this and let this can give us user. Because we don't know anything else about our users at this point, so we may as well just let someone else make some decisions for us. 10:30 p.m. It's late, Finian. It's late. It's past my bedtime. It was 10:30. Great. Okay, so we've got this. What does it actually give you? I know we did this fairly recently, so this is we get email, password, bunch of reset password stuff, and then stuff for the modules that we might want. Which modules do we want? Does it tell you to set these up now in the docs? Now check the model for any additional configure options you might want to add, such as confirmable or lockable. If you add an option, be sure to inspect the migration file and uncomment the appropriate section. Okay, let's assume we probably do want confirmable. Everything else you can kind of just turn on. Confirmable I've always seen as the most, like, you're just trying to prevent spam people from just throwing email addresses in a system and going to town on stuff. So confirmable is at least one mechanism against that. There's a bunch of others, but at least it gets you something. Trackable, I guess, because GDPR wise, you're already collecting the PII, the personal information in the form of the email address, and these are always super helpful for debugging. So let's say yes. Trackable, so we've got to turn these on in the model, I'm guessing, as well. In which case we want trackable and confirmable. Apologies, that was my chest. I couldn't prevent that noise. I should get like a little I want one of those little Stream Deck things so you can like do a quick mute. Lockable confirmation token. I haven't used lockable. Feels potentially failed attempts. I see. So is that like used only if the lock strategy is failed attempts? It's like a security thing to prevent like just people trying to brute force their way into the apps. I haven't had an issue with that, so I'm going to leave that off, but that feels like there's a reason that's there. Someone's had an issue with it. The rest of it we can just, we can turn these things back on, so that's all fair enough. Okay, great, so that's done. What else do the docs tell us to do? Then run Rails DB migrate. You restart your application. This includes stopping Spring. Otherwise, you'll run strange errors. That's all fine. Okay, so let's assume that's all been fine and do some committing. Your commit here, drag and drop to cherry pick new. Copy commits to another branch by dragging and dropping them onto a branch in the branch menu or by right clicking on a commit. Drag and drop to squash. Interesting. Squash commits by dragging and dropping them onto another commit or by right clicking on multiple commits. Wait, so it will behind the scenes do a rebase while you're just in the UI? Drag and drop to reorder. Yes is yes is clearly the answer to that first question. Reorder commits to tidy up your history by dragging and dropping them into a different permission. Will it perform the rebase the moment you drag and drop? Or will it like create some sort of... Will it like create the new version of the little history you get on an interactive rebase? Like it'll make that in the app, and only when you go to commit will it actually run it? Interesting. Select branch to compare. So let's compare it to master. So I can drag that over to there. I don't really want to do that, but interesting. I've always found it interesting that this application has never gone with the idea of like Git Tower and Source Tree and all those other things have this like visualization of the branches and the flow. The GitHub app has never lent into that. It's always had this idea of just these blocks. There's no like that being one branch and that being another branch. You can't have them on the screen at the same time, whereas other apps you actually see how they diverge and what that means. Maybe they think that's more confusing. It seems like for me this feels more confusing. But whatever. Yes. What are we getting? Our roots device for users. Migration. The fact that we've run the migration. I'm going to use RSpec, so I don't really need these. And I tend to use factory built rather than fixtures. I'd actually love to learn more about Minitest and using fixtures. But I'm not in the mood. Every time I see it, it seems way more minimal and apparently way faster, but I don't have a lot of information to back that up. Just whenever I read anyone, I think that's done. So, model and oh, okay. You can zoom in, but there's a maximum. Okay. I actually already hate this. I want to go back to using so those are ticked here but not staged. Oh, it's unstaged them all. The fuck? Okay, I don't like the GitHub app. I want everything other than these can go. We're using the confirmable and these are the defaults that provides. Okay. Great. Okay, so now we've got some stuff for users. Do we want to put those views in at least? Then we would have some UI. Maybe that's not a bad idea. I could feel more productive. Do migrate. Where was the thing? Was the views right at the start of these docs? Sorry, I'm scrolling up and down really quickly. Views. Rails generate device views. Here we go. I keep copying and pasting them, but you get a really handy little copy thing here from GitHub, so I don't know. I keep doing that. Is that gonna go? And yeah, let's give ourselves those little views. Let's be kind to ourselves. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I don't use that thing. It gives you the $sign in the copy thing that you don't want. No, that was wrong as well. Where's views? I get loads. That's fine. Just chuck all of those in for now. I know we're being minimal, but I do want a UI. And I don't really want to have to think about like password reset crap for now. Default device views. We're unlikely to need all of these, and those that we will need, we will likely want to customize, but for now, it gives us have a login. We can these up later. Okay, so that's just an excuse as to why I'm not going to worry too much about having those in the repo, even though we might not need all of them. Does that actually, do they work straight out the box? Like if I do this, do I now have, is there any other steps before I have like, oh, users sign in? Oh, sync in. Come on. Yep. Okay, great. So sign up. And that's why it said to do the host. Fine. Okay. Please write the host parameter. So I don't think I've read. When it said set the host, I thought it was said it had already set the local host. What? Oh, is it not in device? God damn it! This is the same thing that happened on the stream last time. I always try and get further to not. Oh, so it's actually in my action mailer configs. Okay, fine. So this can just go in application, I'm guessing, and great. Okay, so now we have a user. And we need to restart this. Not really too fussed about any of this stuff. Just getting our basic stuff set up today. Great. Okay, so now we have users coming through and we can commit this. Can't type say. See that's unstaged, but in the GitHub app it appears ticked, which I would assume to mean it is staged. Is that not what that means? Modified. Untick it and then tick it. No, it's not staged. So is there a concept of staged versus unstaged in this app? Or is the fact that there's only one change mean that that's the only thing I'm going to commit? Yeah. I saw the image thing for that app and it seemed pretty cool. Do you have an extension or something that's wrapping your description to 72 characters? I do indeed, and it's super helpful. It is called something. Is it this one? Yep, it's called Rewrap. And you can give it some config somewhere, I think. And then I use Alt Q, and I regularly get it wrong and press Command Q and accidentally quit out of the application. You can change this, but I haven't, and therefore just regularly quit VS Code in the middle of trying to write a commit message, which is not fun. So change that. This is like a tip for using the extension. Or put that thing on. I think you can put that thing on where like on VS Code we have to hold Command Q rather than press it because it's an Electron app. Yeah, it's super helpful. I think there's a few of them, but this one works. Rewrap, highly recommended. I think it's something that did it automatically, but that seems a little bit much because sometimes you just need to go over. Right, what was I doing then? Oh yeah, I was getting annoyed at that thing, and we can say add. I think that's about it, really. Don't need to say a huge amount about that. I'm setting it in application. Should I just set it in development only? So that I sting myself each time? Because I never want it to be localhost. Well, I'm just going to go and see. Do I have another repo open? Just take a look at what we did in the echo left repo. Where is default URL options actually defined? It is in development, production, staging, and test, but not in application because you don't want a default set. Okay, let's bump that out. Oh, okay, there is already one in here. Okay, fine. No, there isn't one in here. To support active action mailer, but there isn't an action mailer host. Don't care if there's concerned. Action mailer default URL options. Okay, cool. Oh, I was mid commit and I've just changed that. Fuck, I can't remember what that now does. Oh, well, I can just bail out the commit. Yeah. So we just want to commit that. I'm not quite sure what makes that go red in my VS Code config. But it does sometimes on git commits. I'm assuming it's not. It's trying to add some sort of coloring because it thinks it's a certain like bash, I would guess, or like a shell script or something. That's fine. That's all I need for that. So can I? So if I want to change this history and I want to put that action mailer there, but I put it after this. Oh, holy crap. Did that just rebase my branch? Like then and there? Oh, that feels... Okay. It did. It did do that. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's really cool, I guess. I mean, I think the other ones do that. I think like other Git applications do that, but that feels terrifying. I think I just say rebases like so carefully. Just the idea of losing anything in there, like, scares the crap out of me. Okay, so but we got users. In fact, we have users in our database, right? Oh, we've got 3 users. Okay, this app is basically finished. I don't know what people want. So we now have users. They can sign in. And was there anything? Right, let's be more diligent. Let's go and see. Was there anything else in the docs that we should do? Where was getting started? Because I think we jumped out of that and went to the views thing. Where was getting started? Okay, we did that, did all this stuff, set that up. Apologies for skipping that, which I always do. Set the model, great. Run migration, great. Controller filters and helpers. Devise will create some helpers to use inside your controller views. To set up your controller, so we haven't got any controllers yet, so we don't need that. For Rails 5, note that protect from forgery is no longer pre-appended to the before action chain. So if you have set authenticate user before protect from forgery, your request will revert and can't verify. Change the order in which you call them or use forgery pre-print. True, okay. If your device model is something other than user, replace something that's called user on your monitor. Signed in. Yep, these are all helpers. This is all just FYIs. Well, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. After signing in a user, confirming the account, or updating the password, device will look for a scoped route path to redirect you. For example, when using a user resource, the user route path will be used if it exists. I don't know why. Yeah, I've only ever used root for like the actual root. I've never had like resource name underscore root underscore path. Like, I don't know, organization root path. I wonder if that's a pattern. Interesting. Should be doing that. You can also override after signing path. So yep, this is all FYI stuff. Note that if your device model is called member instead of user, these all helpful. Okay, great. No, don't know anything about any of those good things. They're all config stuff. Okay, so permit, we haven't got anything on our models for the device controllers. That's all stuff for stuff I'm doing. Configuring views, right, I've done those. If you have, okay, so scope views. I've never used scoped views, but that's an interesting idea. Configuring controllers. If the customization of the view level is not enough, you can customize each controller by following these steps. I've always ended up doing a couple of these for customization, but just by hand afterwards, so never done that up front. Configuring routes. Device ships with default routes. If you need to customize them, you should probably be able to do it through device for method. I never really thought about customizing these either. You need more deep for instance to allow sign in besides sign in. Create your routes normally and route them in a device scope. Okay, fair enough. Blah blah blah. That's all locale stuff. Tests. Well, that's all fun stuff we can come to later. I'm trying to be more diligent and actually read the rest of the docs because I've consistently get stung by not having read them. Integration test. This is all stuff that I'm a bit more familiar with. The Omnial stuff I'm super interested in, but we're going to skip all of that because that's complex active job. Using Rails 4.2 and active job to deliver action mailer messages in the background through a queuing backend. You can send device emails through your existing queue by overriding the send device notification method in your model. So that's fair enough. I've tended to always think that like anything coming from device, if you are using their mailers, you probably want it just fired out straight away rather than queued. But what it seems handy that we can do it. Set tokens. Right, okay, this is all extra. This all seems like extra stuff that we're not using. Great, so I think we're done with that. Oh, didn't put any tests on user, but we haven't added any functionality that's not in the gem, so we assume that's tested anyway. Are we happy with this? See, this just seems like a really... I don't like this view of the branch particularly. Add device gem, add device config files, add action mailer default options, add user model and device routes. So can we publish this branch to GitHub? We publish. This was we've had this conversation on the stream before, but like that all the terminology used in the app is like different. Is there a git publish? Maybe. I mean, maybe I just don't use it. So that's now there, but it doesn't like link you to the branch or anything. Like if you want to jump out of, if you want to make a PR from that branch, why can't I do that? You can do it from within VS Code, but not inside the GitHub app. Maybe this is all getting left behind because Microsoft now own VS Code and GitHub. So, I'm not signed in with GitHub. That seems weird. Oh, is that the extra app? Hang on, I think I can sign in over here. Hang on a second. I think I can get this working because I do use this a lot because it will Oh, okay. So maybe VS Code. Okay, maybe VS Code doesn't let you do this. I just have the extension installed that lets you do this. So I have this installed. What is this? This is the GitHub extension, or is this built-in functionality? Or is it built in but you just have to log in? There's not one called GitHub. I have Git Blame, Git Lens. Never quite sure now because I have the settings sync turned on. I'm never quite sure when I'm using an extension and when I'm using VS Code's defaults stuff. Okay. No, maybe this is there by default. But when I go to branch here at work, when I'm like working on something, it's like, hey, you want to make a PR? Do it here. You don't need to go to github.com. I'm cool. I'm like, use me. Can't remember how I trigger that though. I genuinely can't remember how I. This video like GitHub pull request. Configure create pull request. Yeah, I actually don't use this, but it's pretty cool that you can. This isn't the UI I get either. I get a little thing in the bottom right-hand corner, and it takes over the whole screen. Yeah, I don't know whether it's an extension or not. I know that's of no help to anybody, but just knowing that you have about 50 bajillion options to use GitHub and Git is at least useful to be aware of. So go and find my new repo. I'm already annoyed that I have put the organization name as a capital letter and I want to change that. GitHub change organization. I don't know how to change that. Hang on, I'm genuinely looking at how to do it. Renaming organizations. What happens when I do that? Changing it. Go to organizations, settings, rename organization. Okay. I'm just going to do that in this window. I don't have anything. Organizations, like I don't own any organizations. I'm just a member of some. The ones that. Okay, cool. So rename. I understand this rename and then change organization's name. The organization has been renamed. Update profile. Okay, so this should now. Oh, that's case insensitive. Okay, cool. That's better. Great. So create and compare pull request. And install. So the reason I'm doing it via a pull request, rather than just merging it straight in, is when I was streaming and would occasionally do some diligence on the repo, having the pull request to refer back to on the streams was way handier than looking like for the individual commits or something, because it was like, here's a chunk of stuff that got merged in. So like it's basically just a habit that I want to stay in, this idea of like anything that goes in probably should be a PR. Like it's only me working on it right now, but like why get out of the habit? And at least it's then a thing you can link to and you can see grouped work, and it's just got loads of weird benefits, even just like habit based ones. even if these don't really say a lot. But also the other thing is like the additional context you get from a PR message as opposed to the individual commit messages is strangely helpful a lot of the time, even though you don't know it at the time. Okay, we don't need to know what we use. We don't know. We just don't know much about. Including its attributes or functionality. So we've allowed fields and we'll figure it out from there. And then I can actually link to this stream. Maybe, oh man, maybe I should live stream myself like at all times coding and then can always link back to the thing that you were doing, because you never know what the developer was thinking when they're like, this is rubbish. Why did you commit this? Whereas if you could genuinely, you could genuinely link back to them being like, this is rubbish. I don't want to commit this. And every PR came with a live stream of the developer working on it. That'd be fucking amazing. And so depressing. You just see their face being like, sorry. Sorry, future me / future someone else. Not in this case. This is fine. This is just... worked this code. I'm just kind of working out what these PRs are going to be, because we're going to try and actually ship a repo. Whereas on the Sunday Club application before, we didn't really ship anything, and that I was always like not doing the pull request properly. So I can do it. Don't need anything else on here. We've got no CI set up. But I think we did set up CI in the Sunday Club repo, right? So we could copy that over because we've got such a basic app. Let's go and take a look at that. Could we... Yeah, we've got GitHub workflows, workflow.yaml. Oh, maybe we can lift this entire thing. So this is the workflow.yaml that we added for the Sunday Club app. And maybe this could get us CI before we even start. Where is the commit for this? Sure, GitHub's YAML file. Did I write anything up? I did, yes. We are aiming to get RSpec tests running in GitHub when we make a pull request. This template is a modified version of one found in this blog post. A few important notes. We are using, oh God, well done past me. We're using Ruby setup Ruby rather than action setup Ruby, as this has been deprecated since the blog post was written. We had to specify a very specific version of Ruby here, as GitHub Actions didn't seem to support our original version. Interesting. Also specifying the version of bundler used to match the one on my local machine, which is not ideal, but we can come back and look at this separately. Okay, so maybe we can modify this. What else was in the PR? I see, this is why this was so helpful. Oh my God, it's proving my point straight away. What else was in this commit, this PR? Update the Ruby version, update the Webpack gem. Rename style sheets and Webpack and when trying to get GitHub Actions and Heroku set up, we found that our initial settings for Webpack didn't seem to work. I'm not 100% sure the details here, so I didn't take time to look into it. But this combination seemed to get things working. Oh, previous Git commits are so good. I don't know. I mean, it's changing it to application. I'm not sure what that one's doing. Changing that to that. And removing the style sheet link tag. Is that because it was trying, Heroku was trying to use sprockets? Not sure. But because we haven't got any of that stuff running yet, maybe we could just try and steal this. I just love I love the idea of having CI up and running like before we do anything else. Like, so our first PRs will all have like green ticks and cool stuff. Let's just try it. Let's try it. So this is all now. Oh well, we made the PR. Could we get CI running and then try and run it against that PR? Could we do CI in a different branch? Let's try that. So let's master, create a new branch, and we're gonna do add GitHub actions. And we're going to go back to the blog post because I can't remember anything about this. I do kind of remember doing it. Create.github workflows. Right, let's do that. Okay, so that's done. Oh, yeah, workflows. Create the file that will describe the workflow. The extension must be YAML or YAML. So we already had that in here. And we can, this is called workflow.yaml. Oh, I see. So do we want to call that like ci.yaml or something like that? I'm going to come back and add that in as well. Okay. So let's grab this. And we're going to make this and we can get a new file. Let's call it, let's just call it CI for now, I guess. And we can come back and come up with a better name for it later. Okay, and then this is where it's giving it this name of this other file that we needed. Kind of just taking past Max, his word here. So let's have, this is in config. Oh, whoops. That's not where I wanted to paste that. It's in here. Okay. And so this is, why is that in config? Can that just not live in the workflows file as well? It's just going to CP it in. Let's get it working first. Okay, so we basically recreate that commit, but the other one said we don't need the bundler version potentially. So what's in the blog post? Just gem install bundler. Yep. And what was the other thing that the commit message said? Ruby. And for Ruby version 2.5, well, we are 3.0. I don't know if it'll be more specific than that. Or is that why we had to reinstall? In upcoming commit, we're going to be implementing GitHub Actions to support our current version of Ruby, so we're updating in advance to prepare. Okay, so what is 0.0? I look for GitHub Actions, like supported versions. .0.0. Okay, so maybe we do have to be specific about that for now. Okay, let's commit this, and if we then push this, will it run that? I'm gonna close this fucking GitHub app. It's driving me crazy. You know it's not ideal if the one built into your editor is better. So let's commit this then. And GitHub workflow. GitHub action for CI. What are they called? They're called GitHub Actions, right? Rather than, yeah, Actions. But Actions has workflows. GitHub Actions workflow, is that the correct wording to use there? We use a similar script in the Sunday application. This blog post, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hopefully help ourselves out again in the future. Don't know what else to add really. We've the same pattern of adding the config to the config directory. However, at this point, to get this working. Okay, so I think it's fair enough to put stuff in. I mean, maybe not, depending on the professional level of the repo that you're working on, but like stuff you didn't do, I think is as valid in a commit message as stuff you did. Again, depends on your repo and your colleagues and all that fun stuff. Okay, so now we can push this. I'm just going to do this one from here. Okay. Okay, so if we now... Ah, it's here. This is where it happens. Okay, so if you try and visit the pull request thing from VS Code, it will say, do you want to create a pull request using the GitHub pull request and issues extension? And if you say yes, oh, it is the same UI that we saw earlier. Okay, it's the same thing. It's changed. I don't like it, but but it's pretty cool. Is there? Or also it'll let you go out to this. So is that now? Do I have to make the PR before it'll try and run? So let's create the pull request. So is this now doing stuff? I can't remember. I can't remember setting this up. Is this now going to do magic? It is now doing magic stuff. Okay, cool. I remember this being as exciting last time as well. I'm very easily pleased. I also remember it not working. Like, I think I had to come back a week later and try and get it running, so. So the other option, if we're going to put this thing on Heroku, is using Heroku CI, which I actually kind of prefer in certain ways. I find the GitHub one's a bit inscrutable a lot of the time. Maybe it's just the UI on top of it. Maybe if I did maybe it's a bit like Git. If you use the API, maybe it's a bit more easy to understand. The engine node is incompatible with this module. Expected version 10.17, got 10.16.3. Okay. I don't really want to go into debugging this right now, but we're not a million miles away from that. So essentially I've got the wrong... So actions check up v1, Ruby setup version. So can you specify the... Can you specify the node version? Earlier in this, and if so, where does node get installed on this? In here? No, that's just Ruby, I'm guessing. In checkout. Yeah, see, this is where I think it's a little bit inscrutable for me, because a bunch of these like pre-made... My understanding of this may be way off, but like my understanding is like when you use these like steps and users actions checkout, like these are pre-made things that do stuff for you. So these are pre-made scripts that you can go and use. But I'm not sure how to like see what they do in this UI. Do I have to then go off and find the individual ones to know what each one does? Or do I have to read the logs of each step? This one's just going to get the repo to start with. That seems to be all it's doing. What's that one called? Checkout. Okay, so it's just checking out the code. Okay, fine. So is actions yarn version 2 getting the node? Version? Don't know the answer. I'm going to Google it. Okay, get version yarn usage. Can I just push this to the latest version then, to version 2.3.0? No, I want like releases or something, do I? Installing latest yeah, okay, so maybe we can update something. I don't know what those are called. Are those called steps? I don't know what those are called. Okay, so I think this now should be running again. Yes. So you do, I do kind of like that you get those little UI things like NPM Union Force. I sure hope you know what you're doing. God, I would hate to be a like a new developer at this point. Like in red writing on something that you're using that you really think is important, it says, "I hope you know what you're doing." And if you're a learner, you would just poop yourself at that point. NPM one using dash force. I sure hope you know what you're doing. Like, oh no, I got this script from some stream that I was watching. Plus, I sure hope you know what you're doing may as well be the tagline for the software industry, development industry in general. And the answer is no, we don't. Okay, that got further than before. Did we get stuck at that one previously? But this got stuck last time we ran this, the bundler versioning, I think, because my local one was out of sync, so maybe they'll have the same problem here. Is that because yeah, I don't know. I think I could. I don't know why I didn't just update my local version of bundler rather than adding something to the actions. So if this passes, we could merge this one in first. And then how would we get, do we have to then just force push the other one up? Like make a fake change and force push the other one up? To run the tests? This doesn't really like matter, by the way, because we haven't written any code that needs any tests, but I think it's, if we're going to start from scratch, let's start with some green ticks in GitHub on CI and kind of do things a little bit more diligently than we did last time. Okay, so that has failed. Okay, so cannot load XML document. This was me optimistically just copying and pasting it over. I don't know if it's going to work or not. So cp config database YAML. Actions to config database.yaml. Cannot load such file XML document. Let's just Google the error message before we try anything else. Boom. Ruby 3 no longer includes the... It's so helpful. XML gem by default. Ruby 3 no longer recruit as XML by default. So can we... install it here? Like if we don't need it, but CI does, could we install it here? Go back and Ruby 613. Here we go, this one looks more relevant to us. XML gem as a bundle of gems since Ruby 3. Must add XML to gem file. Ruby 2.6 from 2 XML as a default gem. Gem file for XML version. Rails test should work out of the box. Is there an issue for this yet? I can't seem to find one. Install XML, just paste a gem file. Okay, so it seems fine to include it with a load of context. Okay, this is pretty useful still, I think. We can still be a whipping a thing. So let's go to our gem file. We can tidy all this up. Oh, we haven't got anything in here yet. Oh, let's just add this for now. Bundle install. You'd have to rebase it. Yeah, I think you'd have to rebase the other branch. Sorry, Finian, I missed that in the chat. I think to get CI to run, you'd have to do something on the other branch to get CI to rerun. Oops. So we are going to. I've already forgotten what it's called. RexML. And hopefully we can just lift. But this is a quote. Use this. When trying to set up CI using GitHub Actions, the workflow was failing due to some sort of dependency needing this gem. Seems this was part of Ruby until v3 is now a bundled gem. More info in not the part, the actual. No, it's not that one. Sorry, I'm just then we can do that and that. That. Oh, whoops, no. That's not part of the quote, that is. So address, when trying to set up CI using GitHub Actions, the workflow was failing due to some sort of dependency needing this. Or just needing XML. Seems this was part of Ruby until v3 and is now a bundled gem. If I'm referenced stack overflow post. XML is a bundled gem since Ruby 3.0, so you must have a XML gem file on Ruby 2.6. Gem file. That actually wasn't the most helpful paragraph. this one is probably more useful. For future peeps. Cool. Just a note on this. I know, like, I doubt, I mean, we're 2 hours into a stream, so I doubt anyone's going to watch this, but like, I think we're talking about like junior developers earlier in terms of like how scary messages would be. I think they would, I think if I was getting started now, I would be, can I use the word flabbergasted? I think I would be flabbergasted to know just how long engineers spend on git commits and pull request messages. And not all engineers, or not all software developers, but like it's a good chunk of making a PR is writing language that you think is going to be useful for other people, especially if you're working on a team. Like it's, I don't know if other people do this, but generally when if I'm pairing on something, I could pair on the commit message in the PRs as well. Like sometimes someone will be like, "Oh, I'll go write it up," but even then, everyone like others will read it. And that is like, there's a lot of feedback given around that as well, making sure that's clear. Like if you're not working with people that are good written communicators, it's really, really tough. And huge, massive, mega, ultra respect to people who code in a language that is not their primary language. So they are like writing code in one language, writing commit message in another language, and it's not the language that their kind of brain defaults to. And then having to make it clear and they are trying to write technical English, like make it clear for other developers, and that's not the same as spoken English and all the kind of quirks you have around that. Like huge respect. Yeah, that we're good, so we can push this up. Yeah, huge respect. Okay, right. This time we've got to sit and wait for GitHub Actions to do more stuff. Which is in Safari. Go. I don't know if that's going to fix it, by the way. That was just an optimistic one. Okay, so let's see where it's up to. So it's just checking on some other stuff. So what did we get to? I think we got as far as set up database, didn't we? Which is pretty close. And we haven't got any tests, so that like the tests are guaranteed to pass, I would imagine. Oh no, maybe we haven't installed RSpec. Maybe it's gonna maybe it's gonna fail there. Shit. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're just doing some boring setup work. This is the what we're doing. Didn't think that through. I guess it's actually gonna. Is it specifying like run? When it says run test, does it? Did the workflow file actually say like RSpec? Well, I have no idea what it actually was doing. Bundler exec rake. No, it's doing. Okay, so that's not doing. So it might try and run mini test at the moment, so it might still get a green tick. Because there won't be any mini test tests either, I would imagine. So I'm assuming we could swap that out, because that one's just doing a command. Like, it's not doing like calling another, like a uses. So these, I went to that actions yarn one. Is that like, like, are these all just open source random people, or are they like, are these official ones? I'm assuming that's just his name, his username, I'm guessing. Like, why is not like that one's /actions? So is that GitHub's official one? I think I remember asking this last time. Look at GitHub actions setup node for more details. Oh, there is one called actions setup node. So I'm assuming actions is the official. The official one. Oh, it's failed again on setup database. Schema.rb doesn't exist yet. Run bin Rails DB migrate to create it, then try again. If you do not intend to use a database, you should instead alter .rb to limit the frameworks that will be loaded. Let's create the database, but not run the migrations. Okay, that's not the error I was expecting. That is not the error I was expecting. So we've got that, got that. But the very next one is bundle exec break db create, which would create it. Create a database. Oh, wait, have I not made it locally? Is that what it means? Ah, shit. Okay. So do I now have... Ah, crap. Okay, sorry. So what's in that? This is good. This is all set up stuff we could have done. Because remember, we haven't merged our other PR yet, so we're not doing things out of order. Ah, yeah, now we are, because we've got users, which is... from the other branch. So actually we want to not do this. We want to drop this. We want to run this, and we should have an empty schema.rb at this point. Yeah, okay, great. So we can now add schema.rb. Oh, I'm not going to start getting into the habit of writing them in there. In order to get our tests running, GitHub actions. It's not blank, is it? It creates an empty. The new, currently empty database. All right, round we go again. Learning stuff. This is not a total waste of time. I think I'm learning stuff mainly about GitHub Actions, but I'm not sure that's a bad thing. So I'm assuming a bunch of this stuff, like, does any of this get cached? I'm assuming that using like the default ones, you would hope that you would gain any like caching or good stuff that they provide for everyone. So I think that the tests might work. And if not, we can install. This does seem to be running pretty quick. I think they are fetching though. Are they fetching them from cache? Or is it just a big enough box that it's just really fast? Okay, so that what was actually looking at here was so this author here has linked to setup node action. What's the difference, I suppose? Like, presumably the setup node doesn't come with yarn. It just comes with npm. And then on top of that, he runs... Right, so he just... Yarn. Oh, there is a thing for caching, so with browse. Oh no, that's the workflow for this thing. So what's the actual... Right, okay. Right, okay, so it's here. Wraps the yarn CLI to enable common yarn commands. Not sure I understand what the fuck is going on with these things, I have to say. Oh, sorry for... Apologies for a little extra French there. Oh, wow, okay, things worked. I wasn't sure what I was looking at there. We have a green tick. Oh, that's exciting. Add key actions workflow for CI. Okay. And we can click on there, and it didn't run RSpec because there's nothing to run. 0 run, 0 session, 0 failures, 0 errors. Nothing to do. Amazing. Stop the containers and complete the job. Okay, perfect. Right, so we can rebase this one. And I've already forgotten what we did here, but we can then merge this in and then rebase the other one on top and have a green tick for it. So what did we do here? Add GitHub Actions workflow with CI. Yep, update step version. That one can get just be squashed into the one above. The XML gem thing can stay. The schema RB thing can stay. But we could order them so that that would always pass. So we can just git rebase against those. We can fix up that one into the one above. That can go up there, and that can go there. And then I think we can reword these because they said... And then we can just check the wording on that one. Cool. So I could have done all that dragging and dropping in the GitHub app, but that seems scary. Does it seem scary? Because it seems fucking scary just typing the word R, the letter R, and assuming that everything will be fine, but at least I'm familiar with that. I'm trying to set up CI using GitHub Actions, which will be using in upcoming commits. The workflow failed due to some sort of dependency. Yep, that's the level of detail. It seems this is part of... Seems that XML was part of Ruby until V3 and is now a bundled gem. I found more info in this Stack Overflow post, blah, blah, blah. Cool. That was that. Let's give it up in order to get our test running with GitHub Actions, which will be introducing in an Upcoming commit. We needed a schema.rb file for Postgres to be able to load. This commit creates the schema.rb for the new, currently empty database. And this one is add GitHub Actions workflow for CI. We use a similar script in the Sunday Club application, which was written using the guidance. So like, I wouldn't normally reference another app in this, but I mean, we're live streaming it, so that makes sense. We follow the same pattern of adding the database config to the config directory, but I wonder if that could end up just, yeah, that's fine. We done? Why is this hung on a branch? There we go. No, it's just taking its time. And this. So if we do git push, this will fail because, oops. Oh, missed the S off the end. So this will fail because we've been rebased, so we have to force push this up. That will now run. And presumably it will run all of that again, even though the code is just rebased. That's fine. And we have the PR for that. So if we now, let's just merge this in because that's going to take, how long did it take previously? It took 8 minutes. Oh no, 8 minutes ago, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. No, fuck it. So we can, we could rebase this on top of the other branch. Oh, that's equally as messy. Okay, so we've got an app, got users, got CI, got some views where you can sign in and stuff like that. That's all pretty good. What would actually be helpful for me is, so we know that we are going to build like the most minimum viable version of this, but starting each stream without really knowing where we're going next is a bit of a pain in the bum. So what I actually might do is bother to write up like an actual breakdown of what it would take to get there and try and aim to hit each one on a stream so we know what we're working on. So we know on the stream that we're skipping all of that, the normal good stuff that we would do, like having a UI design, having any sense of what the product should do or look like. But it would be helpful to know what we're going to do at the start of each stream rather than each one just starting like, oh, hey, well, like, just chuck in users. I don't know. So I'm wondering if maybe GitHub has a bunch of stuff these days for this, doesn't it? Projects. Could do it here. I've always found this really not great because it's like a really crappy Trello. I've tried this, but it's just not. The notion of everything being an issue or a pull request doesn't really make a lot of sense. Whereas maybe we could do something like in Notion so that people can make it, we can make it public. That might be a bit more appealing. I wonder if there's any other tools like that. I'm aware of like a bunch of planning apps, but they're all private. But at least Notion would allow to make it public. But or something like what's that chat app that GitHub bought? It wasn't. Oh man, what was that called? GitHub chat app. Oh, that's just a stupid thing to search because there's a million chat apps on. They bought it. It was like forums and community stuff. They didn't buy Discourse. Was for chat. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. GitHub purchases. Spectrum? Maybe Spectrum is the one I'm talking about. So I was thinking like you could post the plans there. I think maybe Notion is probably just as good a place as any. All right, let's see if this thing has run now. Yes, exciting. Okay, great. So now we should have a pull request that has a green tick. Green tick. And we can, and it has a lovely Git history. Very nice. Lots of lovely words. Great. Lots of green ticks. Everyone happy. Super exciting. So we can merge that. Never seen it offer me multiple email addresses before. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, wait. So, right. So this, right, I forgot about this. We then need to decide, are we doing create a merge commit, squash and merge, or rebase and merge? Just rebase and merge. We've got the PRs for the history. For bubble merge stuff, like, just never found it that crazy valuable. The PR still exists. So I'm just gonna rebase and merge. I don't care. So that's super fun. That's then deleted. So then we can rebase the other branch, which is the downside to that is I always forget to delete my local ones, which is add devise. Get checkout master. Get pull origin master. Get checkout the other branch. Get rebase master. Get push origin. Other branch should fail. Oh no, shit! I'm in a. Oh my god! Wait, the conflicts. I totally missed that. Sorry about that. Get status. Oh, because we installed two gems in the same place. Okay, so let's go over to here. And we want both of these. So we need accept both changes. And then we can do bundle install. Get the lock contains merge conflict, so we can just why can't you do reset from here? Because I'm in the middle of a reset file lock. Oh, here we go. Oh, sorry, because it was staged. Sorry, okay. I can just discard the changes from the lock. Run bundle install. It will fix the lock. Restage the lock. Is there more than one on here? This is still showing as red. Do I have to unstage this? Oh, okay, there we go. So now it's just adding devise, which is correct. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I just don't need, just adding the devise gem. I don't need any description for that one. Good. Any of that. That's all. Oh, shit, no. Okay, wait, it's got more problems. Merge conflicts in DB schema. Oh, okay, right, because it's actually we added a schema and then we overwrote it. Whereas before we didn't have one before, so it made it from scratch. So we can, I think, accept the incoming change. Accept the incoming change. Oh, is this still? I'll go save it. Yes, that's just updating the version and adding the table. I think that's still the correct change to the schema. I hope. So that's the only change. Then we can do git rebase continue. Add user model and device roots. We use device to generate the user models we don't yet know anything about. We'll want need. We enable the configuration device much confirmable and trackable. But other than that, these are the defaults that device provides. Fine. Yeah, we're done. Get status. We're done. So let's push this up. Git push origin add device. This should fail because we've rebased it, but we can force push up because we're happy. And then should see some tests running. Our little orange dot indicates that that's going to happen. And again, hopefully this should all just be ignorable because we didn't actually write any tests for any of that. We're just using, we just installed a gem and we didn't implement any of its functionality, and all of that stuff that we added should hopefully be tested. We did have those views, but that's not like our problem right now. Because, well, we could have added some tests for like, can you log in? But again, it's just out of the box device stuff, so not too fussed about that. Would you like code to period running git fetch? No. Cool. I think that's going to bring us up to it. I'm going to, yeah, like I said, make something for Notion to kind of like indicate what we're going to break, how we're going to be able to break these down. It must be like a Notion template for like a bunch of like kind of GitHub, I guess, the GitHub issues. Maybe we could use the choice. If I use the projects thing in GitHub, it won't be public, and it'd be useful to have to be able to link people to places and things like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna just stick around on the stream until this passes, just because I think it'd be exciting to merge this one in as well. It's kind of annoying that view swaps, but let's just check the PR over. As described in the commit message, we don't really know much about the user model, including its attributes or functionality. So we've allowed device to set all the default fields, and we'll figure it out from there. Livestream works on this code, and it's going to link to this live stream where we'll pick it up. Rebase and merge is now the default because I picked it before. Anything else in this rebase? Actions, projects. I think we'll probably turn off. Pages, no. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because even all the handy like milestones and everything, it's all internal. I'll take a look around and see if there's any great like public facing, really super simple, hey, this is what I want to work on in this stream. If anyone has any thoughts or feedback, you can kind of add it or whatever. And it could be like Google Docs would be super straightforward. Feels a bit overkill. Great, so we've got those sweet green ticks. We've got our tests that don't exist and they pass in 2 minutes. Amazing. And now we can rebase and merge. That's it. We can delete our branch. Oh yeah, where's the setting to delete that branch by default? Because that we really want to do that because I always forget. Branches. Branch protection. Oh, don't tell me that like deleting them by default is also in there. Questions merge button. Here we go. Automatically delete head branches. Allow auto merge. No, we don't want that. Allow merge commits. Allow squash merging. Also, you can turn these off. If you have linear history requirement enabled on any protected branch, you must enable squashing or rebasing. Leave these on because I'm bound to click them by default. I'll take those off. Discussions we can leave off. Projects, let's turn that off because it's annoying. Sponsors. You can set up some issue templates, fine. Oh, wikis is a paid thing, that's interesting. Because I'm a paid user, so we could move this back under my account. I'm a paid user, so if we do decide we want any of that stuff, we can just move it to my account. Cool, okay, we are done. We have a lovely working application. We've got Rails, we've got devise, we've got users, and we've got that thing that says, yeah, you're on Rails. So we are up and running with a new application. Super exciting, and I don't know what we're going to do next week to get there. I think we should start working on the admin UI, I guess. Like, we've got the design, we've got like not really a design for it, we've got something. So we'll work on pretty much the same thing we did on the last application, where we're like, okay, let's namespace this admin area out. Maybe we discuss, I think we want to skip over like organizations and teams and groups and all that stuff. Last time I deliberately introduced complexities to talk about it. This time I want to deliberately ignore complexity and come to it later, even if we shoot ourselves in the foot, just so that we can get something simple shipped on a real domain and have people like using it. I think we're just going to go in the real other direction this time, rather than like discussing theoreticals. We're just going to try and ship real code. Yeah, thank you so much for anyone who stuck around. Thank you to Finian in the chat for saving my ass as usual. I will email you if you're still here, and have wonderful weekends, have wonderful weeks. I may try and do another design sketch app for macOS stream during the week at some point if I can. I really enjoy those. I'm really loving getting back into Sketch, and maybe we can try and actually polish the real UI. Last time we just tried to work out what would be on the screen and like looking at navigation and stuff. This time we could be like, hey, can we actually make this look nice? That could be something that could be interesting and kind of fun to do, and maybe do some design and branding stuff like that could be kind of fun as well. But other than that, have a wonderful week. See you all at least next Sunday.